Ballroom is packed and ready. We're in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Michael's 8th Avenue. We are back for another great season of Ballroom boxing. Hi again, everybody. I'm Larry Michael. Great to be back with my partner, Jon Saraceno. Excitement, unpredictability, anything can happen, and we are glad we are back, Jon.
Wow, Larry, this is the start of our 10th anniversary show. We're looking forward to another terrific season. Tonight we're going to have an international flavor here. We have fighters from the Middle East, Central America, and of course, the Mid-Atlantic.
Well, we have unbeaten Ahmed Kaddour making his first appearance in the United States against Wilmer Mejia. It's a very tough battle for Cadore, who is unbeaten.
This is a real test for him, Larry. Mejia is a very aggressive fighter. He is going to come to make this fight tonight. Cadore is going to be challenged like he never has been as a pro. As you mentioned, his U.S. debut is a difficult one.
Unbeaten Jed Phipps, one of the favorites here in the Ballroom. He is unbeaten 10-0, taking on Troy Beets. Now, Phipps, probably best known for his demolition in the Ballroom a couple fights ago.
Oh, Larry, he's just a terrific puncher. I mean, when he hits you, you're done for the night. And tonight he's going to be fighting a fighter, Troy Beets, who is a southpaw. But Jed Phipps has a lot of experience against left-handers. This will be his 4th fight against an unorthodox fighter.
One of the top young fighters in the area, Ishmael, Arvin, is unbeaten. He risks a lot tonight here in the Ballroom, taking on Eloy Suarez. Suarez at 7-2. Probably Arvin's toughest opponent to date.
And right now, Suarez doesn't care who he's fighting. He told the matchmaker, just make the fight. I don't care what Arvin's tape looks like. And Arvin comes in here unbeaten, doesn't have a lot of experience though, Larry. Remember, he only turned pro last year.
But I will tell you what, Jon, he will have the crowd behind him. How important is that in this venue?
Well, this is a small venue. Ballroom boxing is very cozy, very tight. Arvin has become a local favorite here in Glen Burnie, Maryland. That certainly gives him the advantage.
Well, Jon, I know I am excited to be back after the hiatus over the summer. Our 10th season begins tonight. Are you excited as well?
Let's get going. Let's get right to it.
All right, Ballroom boxing begins after this timeout.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Toyota. Brought to you by Budweiser. The best thing in life are the things that are true. Budweiser. By Michael's 8th Avenue, a host of grand occasions. By BallroomBoxing.com. The latest in ballroom boxing action, including upcoming live events and season tickets. International flavor in our next fight, Wilmer Mejia and Ahmed Kaddour. Kaddour unbeaten, but his first fight ever in the United States. Pat O'Malley with the intros.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for more ballroom boxing. Your referee in charge of this 8-round bout in the welterweight division is Bill Holmes. Judging the bout, Kenny Chevalier, Don Risher, Malik Maulid. Your scorekeeper is John Gradowski. The timekeeper is Tommy Canaris. Introducing the boxers. First, out of the red corner and to my left, wearing the blue trunks with white trim. He weighed in at 149 pounds. He is a native of the Dominican Republic, and he now calls Irvington, New Jersey, his home. His record, 13-3-2, 10 via the KO. Please welcome Wilmer Mejia. To my right, out of the blue corner, weighing 150 3/4 pounds. He is a native of Denmark. He now calls Houston, Texas home. His record, a perfect 13-0, 6 via the KO. Please welcome Ahmed Babyface Kaddour.
Cadore just looking across the ring at Mejia, laughing at him and smiling at him, trying to give him the psych job, isn't he?
That usually doesn't work.
Bill Holmes, the ref. Let's listen in.
Hey, gentlemen, you received your instructions in the dressing room. Recibieste las instrucciones del camareño. Protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands. Touch him up.
We have a scheduled 8 rounds.
Oh, Cadore with a vicious touch of gloves. Jon Saraceno with the matchup.
Well, the numbers speak for themselves. The one number that may be important is not on your screen, and that is 147. That's what Mejia has been fighting at. He's moving up in weight. Let's see how he does tonight.
Well, there's a little disdain already growing. Mejia sticking his tongue out at Cadore. And we'll see Which man is tougher? Mejia fought last month, actually a couple years ago, hasn't fought in a couple of years, so there's a little ring rust. Kaddour hasn't fought in almost a year, and Kaddour going right after Mejia. Big left hand by Cadore. Mejia in trouble. Will he last round one?
Well, there's a smart fighter knowing he's got a guy who hasn't been in the ring jumping right on him.
Straight right down the pipe by Cadore scores. Mejia needs to hold on and get his grips right now.
And that's not as easy as it sounds when the guy is rushing you and throwing bombs. I don't know if Mejia was stunned at all, but certainly Cadore got his attention.
Low shot by Mejia there, way south. Out of the 13 wins, 6 have come by way of knockout for Cadore. His last win being a decision win, a TKO win before that in Italy. He's fought in Italy, Denmark, Germany, Hungary, Wales, Finland, and for the first time in the United States. The right hand of Cadore really tattooing the chin of Mejia.
Cadore is a very nice prospect. This is a little bit bigger test for him theoretically, but you can see how seasoned he is in the way he delivers his punches. For a relatively young guy.
Cadore continues to walk around the ring with Mejia.
They call Cadore babyface, but wow, I guess you'd have to call him the babyface assassin here in this first round.
Leaping left hand by Cadore, who's 27 years of age, and again stings Mejia.
Well, Mejia is smart enough to hold on. He is getting pummeled here in his first round.
Cadore has fast hands. Question is, does the hands pack a wallop? Certainly scoring points here in round one on Mejia.
Mejia has been in fights with better competition than Cadore, but for comparison purposes right now, this is the guy in front of him. And those other opponents really don't matter because it's all about styles.
Mejia in full retreat mode right now. Well, no feeling out process in the first round tonight in this one. Cadore comes right at Mejia and dominates the first round here in the ballroom. All right, taking a look at Cadore as he began the onslaught early in round one, John.
Well, two-fisted power and just the onslaught of punches winning the round. Good sharp left hook there, a little bit thrown from the outside, but he was just chasing Mejia practically out of the ring.
Good opening round for Cadore, so his first fight in the U.S.
But Cadore's getting a little undisciplined here. He really is. The macho is coming out in him. He's got to settle down a little bit here. He's showing his relative lack of experience.
I just think he's excited, John. He's in the U.S. This is where it happens for most fighters. Of course, Europe has its own champions and breeding ground for world champions, but the big money
is America.
Is in the United States.
But you got to harness that. You got to somehow settle down and be a professional in the ring. It's great that he's excited and he's showing us a lot of energy. That's what we want to see. But you're right, that's a good point. He knows America's a gold mine for him, potentially.
He's just anxious to impress.
He knows we're tough to impress.
That's right, we don't impress easy.
Well, let's see what Mejia can do in this round.
Well, we talk so much about Cadore being in the United States for the first time, and we can't forget that Mejia has had only 2 other fights in the U.S. This is his 3rd fight in the U.S., so he's not exactly used to American cooking.
No, he's not. And he's normally a very aggressive fighter, but he's been taken out of that game plan by the two-fisted attack from his opponent.
Mejia beginning to have some moments here because of Cadore just slowing down naturally.
Well, that punch hit gloves. It sounded like it hit body, but it did not. Not a scoring blow.
But you have to admit, Mejia has weathered the early storm now, and it's settling into a tempo more favorable to Mejia. Good body shot by Mejia.
Yeah, he's fighting himself back in this fight.
And I'm almost sensing here, John, that Cadore might have come out a little too quickly in round one because of the anxious nature of this fight for him.
And certainly nervousness will also take an energy out of a fighter, will deplete your resources. And he is slowed down here in the second round. And
considerably.
You see him trying to catch his breath in the ring. He's really inhaling deeply.
You're right, John.
He's having a hard time breathing, it actually looks like suddenly.
A hard time catching his breath.
Yeah.
Mejia taking advantage. Boy, the tide in this fight has turned. Nice body shot by Cadore.
A good combination punching on the inside by Mejia and giving him upper body movement, not making himself an easy target to hit, just giving him enough movement to make it a little more difficult.
Cadore almost heaving, looking to get air.
His mouth is wide open. Totally different round for Cadore.
This one's getting interesting. Scheduled for 8 rounds here. Round 2 coming to a close. All right, welcome back to the ballroom. This fight scheduled for 8 rounds. Ahmed Cadore unbeaten 13-0, and Wilmer Mejia. John Scheinman, quickly the scorecard after 2.
Well, I think it's pretty clear. It's even 1-1 first round at Cadore when he came out so explosively. But I think that he realized that he couldn't open it up. Well, Mejia opening it up again. Let's see what happens, Larry.
Mejia sticks his tongue out at Cadore, and he smacks him with the jabs. The punching power of Cadore has to be questioned now as Mejia walking right through him.
This is a terrific fight. What action at the ballroom, Michael's 8th Avenue. These two guys in the 3rd round. Nobody backing up, Larry.
Mejia stood between rounds 2 and 3. And he just could not wait for this 3rd round to begin. Cadore seemed to have recovered a little bit, but John, in round 2, he was having a hard time breathing.
I just saw him gulp for air again. He's having a hard time catching his breath. And that began in the 2nd round.
Can't be anxiety that far into the fight. Had to be that he came out a little too quick.
And you see Cadore dropping his hands a little bit to protect his ribs. He's going into more of a crouch because of the good body punching by his opponent.
There's Cadore taking a deep breath again as he backed off. Mejia does not want to come off him.
Well, look how much more selective Cadore is when he's throwing his punches. There was a good 4-punch combination to the body by Cadore, becoming much more selective as if his offense has left him a little bit. Good right hand by Cadore.
It's a tough round to judge. Cadore came out early. Mejia fought through Cadore's early assault. Beautiful uppercut with a left hand.
Well, Cadore's bending over trying to protect his midsection, and Mejia has picked that up and he's dropping in the uppercut or lifting it up.
Nice body attack by Mejia, buckling the legs of Cadore. He's sapping the energy out of Cadore's body, and his corner is concerned.
And now Cadore's trying to smother Mejia and get closer because Mejia was having his way with those combination punches. Mejia's got to create a little bit of distance, Larry.
Last time out for Mejia in Santo Domingo, the Dominican Republic, was a draw that went the 10-round distance.
I tell you, Mejia is a very slick fighter inside defensively. Not that easy to hit. Good body work. That was low. Bill Holmes is going to give a warning to Mejia. Low blow.
Cadore could take some time here to recover if he was smart. He would take a minute.
And I think that's what he's doing, Larry. I'm not so sure he's hurt as badly as he's letting on, but he realizes he's a little bit gassed here in the 3rd round. I think that's a good point. And I think it's a good move by him because he's allowed to take it under the rules, so why not take advantage of a blow?
That's exactly right. I wonder what is going on right now because Cadore continues to discuss this with the doctor, and this is very, very unusual. And I bring Jon Scheinman in. John, I don't think I've ever listened to the replay before we go to Scheinman. It was a low blow, yes, and another low blow right on the mark. But Jon Scheinman, have you ever seen a doctor discuss something this long with a fighter?
Well, yes, I have. I can't recall a specific instance, but the point is, I don't think he was that hurt, and then all of a sudden he decided to take the knee and buy time. I got the feeling he was kind of looking for a way out.
Looks like they may stop the fight. I'm not sure, but the doctor's talking to Bill Holmes.
He's really doing a smart thing.
He didn't really grimace or anything, but he said he had pain in his belly. He asked me 3 times, if I stop, do I lose? I said,
It's a tie.
I said, if you feel good, you can go on.
Kaddour asked Bill Holmes, if I stop, do I lose the fight?
I think he asked that of the doctor. That was the discussion. Wondering if he stopped because of the low blow, would he lose? And we picked that up over the mic of Bill Holmes. And now they're going to give Cadore some water.
I think he's going to continue to fight.
I don't believe this is fair at all. I don't believe this is fair.
Except if he has 5 minutes, he has 5 minutes.
Yeah, but it seemed more he was interested in what would be the ramifications of quitting. I don't believe he was suffering as much as you might think.
No, I don't think he was either. But the rules are the rules. And we all know in boxing, guys will cut corners until it's a circle.
And I tell you what, that might have taken the edge off of Mejia somewhat. When we return, this fight continues in the ballroom.
I got a funny feeling this fight will eventually make the Best of Ballroom Boxing Part 3 because of the bizarre nature of that last round, Larry. Very strange indeed.
Literally a 5-minute conversation with the fighter who discusses the ramifications of quitting.
That's exactly the doctor. I think he was looking for a way out. I think you're right. But according to the rules, apparently he had enough time to make that decision. He decided to fight. We had him unofficially losing that round. We have Mejia up, I think, 2 rounds to 1 after 3, unofficially on our cards.
Question we had, did the long delay take the edge off of Mejia? It would really turn the fight in his favor.
I mean, you could also suggest it was a brilliant strategical move if somehow, you know, Cadore can fight his way back into this. He got a big breather there.
Cadore continues, though, to suck wind right now, John, and I'm not so sure he can go the 8 rounds. We're only in round 4 right now.
And now he's backpedaling, which we have not seen him do.
Unbeaten record on the line for Cadore in the leopard print trunks. Wilmer Mejia, the blue with the white trim.
Well, Cadore's mouthpiece, I tell you what, if Mejia can land a good shot, it's going to go flying into the 10th row. It is hanging out there to be had.
Good body shot by Mejia. He started that body attack in round 2, and that really took the starch out of Cadore, who came out blazing.
I mean, on the inside, I think Cadore's getting the worst of it. I would try to box a little more from the outside and mix it up here a little bit, because Mejia is kind of tearing him up on the inside, and he's also slipping a lot of shots and blocking punches as he's doing right there. Mejia is not getting credit for the, I should say, Cadore is not getting credit for some of those shots. They're being picked off.
Well, Mejia continues with the same intensity that he had before the long delay. A little shoulder work there by Mejia.
He's very clever with that. Knows how to roll his shoulders defensively.
Mejia, 21 years old. He turned pro at the age of 17. First fight was a draw in the Dominican Republic, and he has fought exclusively in the Dominican Republic.
And he's got a reputation there as having a terrific chin. So,
well, Cadore digging himself a hole here, John.
Right, when Cadore couldn't get him out of there, he might have folded mentally.
Nice combination by Cadore as round 4 comes to a close. This fight tightening up at the midway point. So round 4 saw Ahmed Cadore scoring a handful of blows. That's probably his best combination of that 4th round. Mejia, though, the aggressor throughout round 4. And Cadore at the end of the round was really getting pummeled by Mejia. Back to live action. Round 5 underway. Jon Scheinman midway through the fight. Who do you have winning?
I thought Cadore won the last round, Larry. I thought he landed the more effective shots. I've got this thing all even, 38-38. Real quickly, I talked to Mejia at the weigh-in yesterday, and I asked him about coming into such a big fight with such a top prospect, and he said, hey, I fought on the undercard of Tapia Barrera in Las Vegas. I know what a big fight situation is like. So we've been talking about most of its fights being in the Dominican, but he has had big fight experience in the United States. They thought they were going to get an opportunity to spring an upset here as a big underdog.
He's doing a great job. I think he's certainly in the fight. Pretty close fight. Cadore has quick hands, John. No doubt about his hand speed. This is a man who has never gone past 6 rounds, however, and this fight here tonight is scheduled for 8.
This has turned out to be a very intriguing fight for a lot of different reasons. And Cadore's got to find a way to get himself kind of back into the fight. We have it even unofficially, but the fight really turned after that first round. Cadore has not been the same fighter. Looks mentally and physically fatigued. He's got to find a way to get back into it.
I don't know if the folks watching can really get a sense of how Cadore is just gasping for wind.
Gulping, like you said before.
I mean, his mouth just kind of heaves every time he's trying to get air. And I don't know if that's a mouthpiece problem or just a conditioning situation. He looks in great condition. He should not be gasping for air right now.
I mean, he is a live fighter in there. I mean, he should have been better prepared if he didn't do his road work for this fight. He's not fighting a dummy.
It's been a pretty good round for Cadore here, though, working on the inside and taking the play away from Mejia.
Well, he's trying to box him from the outside, be a little cuter, but he doesn't, straight right hand, doesn't use the jab at all. You know, all power punches. Good body work by Cadore. And he is outworking Mejia in this round.
Cadore, a native of Lebanon, has lived in Denmark most of his life, but he has moved to the United States, to Houston, Texas, where he trains with stablemate Noam Suleiman, a man we've seen in the ballroom on a couple of occasions. Made his pro debut in October of 2000 and has never lost.
Let's see, Mejia tries to steal the round now.
Cadore's hand speed, the difference in round 5. More to come from the ballroom. All right, we're back for round 6 here in the ballroom. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Our 10th anniversary in the ballroom.
All year.
10 seasons of ballroom boxing, where time travels quick.
You know, Cadore came out smoking in that first round, Larry, and threw a lot of punches. And I wonder if it's because he's not in the proper shape and he thought maybe he could get Mejia out of there early. And you see the combination punching by Mejia, daring Cadore to fire back, and Cadore does. Coming out fast to start the 6th round. I've got Cadore ahead rounds 3-2. Close fight though.
Cadore in the leopard print trunks, Mejia in the blue trunks with a white trim.
And Cadore getting a little cuter here as the fight wears on, trying to box a little bit from the outside. He was getting the worst of it on the inside for much of those early rounds.
It's a low blow that time by Cadore. Cadore fights with a little similarity to Oscar De La Hoya, just a little bit. Mejia just continues to move forward, but he hasn't done much offensively, John, in the last couple of rounds.
He's built similar to De La Hoya, and he kind of lurches forward and has that little hop where he's, you know.
Right. So it's more of a similar build than anything else.
Yeah. I won't tell Oscar you said that.
Mejia beating Cadore to the punch, but doesn't do nothing with it.
Well, this is a close fight. We're in the 6th round. Mejia, I can't believe he's way ahead at this point.
Mejia doing a good job from the outside, but he needs to keep punching, needs to keep sending that jab out, because over the last couple rounds, Cadore really has taken the tempo back. A lot of ebb and flow in this fight so far. Mejia moving nicely, John, but he's doing nothing with those angles.
Or very little. Well, he wants to get on his toes and box from the outside in this round, Larry.
Round coming to a close. This fight seemingly getting tighter as each round passes. Well, coming up from the ballroom, don't go away.
Ladies and gentlemen, the toy.
Seventh round getting set to begin. A good exchange from round 6 as these two boxers, Ahmed Kaddour and Wilmer Mejia, have really gotten into a tussle here over 6 rounds. Jon Scheinman, who's winning this fight with 2 rounds to go?
Larry, on my unofficial card, Cadore has begun to pull away in this fight. He's taken the last 3 rounds. I have him ahead 58-56. I think Mejia has made huge tactical errors in the last 2 rounds by letting Cadore take the fight back to him when he was fighting him on even terms through the middle part of this fight. I mean, here Mejia is a guy with 10 knockouts and 13 wins, but he's been punching throughout the fight like a powder puff puncher. He needs to set down on his punches and take the play away. He's got faster hand speed, and he ought to use it with power.
Well, there's an example of what Jon Scheinman's talking about. Pinpoint accuracy with those quick shots by Cadore.
Jon Scheinman made an excellent analysis. That's exactly what's happened those last 3 rounds. He's let Cadore get back in the fight.
Question always go back to round 3 when that 5-minute delay took place after the low blow by Mejia, and really there was no point deduction in that round either that we saw.
I wonder if Mejia thinks he's ahead in the fight. He almost fought the last couple rounds as if he thought, hey, you know what, I can box this guy and maybe win a round here or 2 or steal one.
Well, he's been 8 rounds once, 10 rounds once. Cadore's never been past 6 rounds.
Mejia's got to close the distance now, get on the inside and make Cadore fight that fight on the inside that he was losing earlier.
There's some beautiful body work by Mejia.
By both fighters. Good left hook by Cadore on the inside. Cadore very fresh early on in this fight, and then it seemed to go right out of him in the middle rounds, and then he's come back strong the last 3.
Mejia being to lean a little bit on Cadore.
Mejia could really use this round. This is the 7th of a scheduled 8-rounder.
And again, Cadore gasping for breath.
Mejia's mouth hanging wide open too.
John, I'm wondering what Mejia thinks, but he's getting tattooed by the fast hands of Cadore.
I wonder if Cadore's natural little bit size advantage is starting to wear Mejia out.
Maybe. You talked about it early in the fight that Mejia was coming up 1 weight class for this fight. And here as round 7 comes to a close, Cadore really beginning to bring it to Mejia, and Mejia offering very little resistance. So action from round 7 where Cadore really had things going his way. There you saw him twisting the neck of Mejia with that left hand. Jon Scheinman, 3 minutes to go. Who's winning this fight on your scorecard?
I thought Mejia carried the first 2 minutes of the last round, but Cadore came on so strong, I gave it to him. He swept the last 4, Larry. I've got him up 68-65, and Mejia will need a knockout to win on my card.
Do you agree, Jon Saraceno?
Exact same score, 68-65. And maybe Mejia's corners told him that. Got to pull out all stops here in this round, the way we have it unofficially. And we'll never know, I guess, whether that long stoppage, was that the 3rd round?
3rd round.
Turned the fight around. because, you know, beginning in the 4th round, Cadore has won every round unofficially on our cards.
Mejia scores with a good uppercut there, but Mejia's offense, maybe that long break caused him to lose his edge.
And Cadore was having a hard time with stamina. Maybe that 3 or 4 minute rest helped save him in this fight. It'll be an interesting point for Jon Scheinman to follow up with in the post-fight interviews.
There you go, Scheinman always on the scene. Well, this could be a surprising result as well, because Mejia had his moments in the middle of the fight.
Well, he was really taking it. I mean, he was tattooing Cadore.
Yeah, Cadore has had some moments in this fight where he has looked exhausted. And now Mejia beginning to get back on his toes a little bit, so who knows what the judges have thought about this one.
I mean, Mejia, a pretty sharp puncher, but I don't know what kind of power he had. Some of those shots he hit Cadore with, Cadore really didn't go anywhere, Larry. And I think in the end, Cadore's size and his boxing ability.
Well, he doesn't like that body work, though, does he?
No, you see him bringing those elbows into his midsection to protect.
It's a great round for Mejia to the body, and down goes Cadore.
That was
down
low.
Down goes Cadore, and they're saying, what is Bill Holmes saying?
He's waving it off, but in my opinion, that was a low.
Calls it a low blow, and Cadore is down again.
Oh, he's waving off any knockdown.
Not a knockdown, and
right.
Cadore is down with the low blow, the second low blow in this fight. The first came in round 3, and that caused a 5-minute delay. Replay from our award-winning crew here tonight, and there's a good angle.
That's not it. It's coming up, though.
Right on the belt. Right on the belt. That punch was right on the belt. Crowd watching the replay on the big screen here at Michael's 8th Avenue. And right now, Cadore gets a chance again to regroup for the second time in this fight. Cadore taking some time because of a low blow.
Well, the bigger non-call is the not a knockdown, as a crowd is going, well, semi-ballistic with their BS call on that, but that will prevent Cadore from possibly losing a 2-point round.
Taking another look at this whole exchange with Cadore up against the ropes. It was right on the label.
It was borderline
of his shorts, right in the middle of the stomach, right on the label where it says Cadore, right on that protective cup that he wears.
Well, the fans don't like it. They think Cadore's jaking it, and he may be. Boy, he's taking a lot of time again.
It was not a clear low blow. It was right on the borderline.
No, it was questionable.
So we need to give Bill Holmes the benefit of the doubt there. And now Mejia going right to the body of Cadore. Why wasn't that? Was a real low blow that time, not called. And Cadore is in a little bit of trouble here.
Oh, nice right hand by Cadore. Right on the button.
Tags Mejia, who slows for a moment but keeps coming.
Another right hand by Cadore. I think you were blocked by that, Larry, by Bill Holmes. Boy, downstairs. And he claims he got another low blow because Cadore stuck his glove down low like you hit me down there again.
Cadore does not like that body work by Mejia. Still time in this fight for Mejia to do some damage. Cadore in some trouble from this body attack of Mejia in the 8th and final round.
Tell you what, Cadore's pretty gutty though too, because he's standing there and he's swapping also.
Well, what a tough fight to call. And this fight winding down, 10 seconds and counting. Mejia does not get a point deducted, nor does he get the benefit of the knockdown. What a fight. Who won it? You'll find out when we come back. Well, this fight goes the distance. Cadore and Mejia had a little bit of everything, a couple low blows. It didn't have any knockdowns, at least none that were counted by the referee and the judges. A very close fight, John. What is your prediction before we get the official word from Pat O'Malley?
Well, it was an interesting fight. I think it's one of the best fights we've had in the Ballroom series. There was some little bit of controversy there with Cadore going down, and a lot of people thinking maybe he jaked it. I think Cadore eked out a decision, Larry.
Well, certainly an entertaining fight. Let's see who won from Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. We go to the scorecards for the result. Judge Kenny Chevalier scores it 77-74 Cadore. Judge Malik Waleed scores it 76-76. We have a draw there. And Judge Don Risher scores it 77-75. The winner by majority decision Ahmed, babyface, Kaddour.
Cadore with the majority decision tonight.
Showing some energy there.
I think that's a pretty good call. The fans don't like it because of the low blows, but I think he probably deserved to win that fight.
And the crowd does not like the decision. That's clear.
Well, I like the decision.
But we do.
Cadore deserved the victory. And the winner is standing by with Jon Scheinman. Jon?
Well, I want to go to that third round. When you first were hit with a heavy low blow, you seemed to be asking the doctor what the result would be if the fight was stopped. Were you going to continue on if he said you would have won?
No, I will continue, doesn't matter what. But I didn't know maybe 2 rounds later if I could be something. I could feel something in my stomach. It hurt, like I couldn't breathe. And I didn't know what was happening in my body. I couldn't feel anything. 10 seconds, I was out.
Yeah, it looked like a delayed reaction, and we were discussing your gasping for air throughout the fight. You just said here that you had trouble making weight, but yesterday you said you made the 150 comfortably.
I make 150, but I lose 6 pounds yesterday. After 3-time training, I was half pound more than I should be. Then they make, problem. Oh, you should be more. You have to go lose that half pound. That's unprofessional. I was 150 and a half. They want me to go lose half pound. That's unprofessional. This is not a world champion fight.
Ahmed Kaddour gets a taste of American-style boxing, comes away victorious to keep his undefeated record intact. Let's go back to ringside.
Very entertaining fight in the ballroom. More coming up in a moment. Welcome back to the ballroom. Larry Michael, Jon Saraceno, and the Washington Redskins, Renaldo Wynn. Also a Golden Domer as well. That doesn't hurt him none. And Renaldo, Jet Phipps is up next with Jet Phipps taking on Troy Beets. Last time you were in the ballroom, you saw Jet Phipps devastate Steve Griffin. He looked like he was in a car wreck after that one.
Unbelievable. 2 guys slugging it out. Jet Phipps comes in, knocks the guy clean out. It was unfortunate because you hate to see any injuries in this sport. But the guy had no control of his lower extremities. I think he broke an ankle or something like that.
Yeah, compound fraction, and in fact, the bone was sticking in the wrong direction.
Jeez, yeah, it was hey, I'm looking for a big one tonight.
All right, thanks, Renaldo Wynn. Jet Phipps in the ring, as is Troy Beets, and the gray-haired man in the ring is Pat O'Malley. Pat?
It is time now for more ballroom boxing. The referee in charge of this 6-round bout in the heavyweight division is Gary Campaneschi. Judging the bout, Kenny Chevalier, Bill Holmes, and Don Risher. Your scorekeeper is John Gradowski. The timekeeper is Tommy Canaris. And now, for the boxers for this heavyweight bout. Introducing to my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks, red and white trim, weighing in at 204.5 pounds. He comes to us from Ocean Springs, Mississippi, with a record of 7-4-1, 4 via the KO. Please welcome Troy Beets. To my left, out of the red corner, he's wearing silver trunks with black trim. He weighed in at 225.5 pounds. From Baltimore, Maryland, his record, a perfect 10-0, 6 via the KO. Please welcome Jet Phipps.
Well, Renaldo, there's no surprise who the favorite is here tonight.
No doubt, the homeboy, hometown guy, man.
Gary Campaneschi is the ref. Let's listen in.
All right, gentlemen, you both received your instructions in the dressing room. I expect a good, clean fight. Protect yourself at all times. Watch your low blows, and you obey my commands. Touch him up, wait for the bell.
Boy, Beets looks like an angry man, Jon Saraceno. What's the matchup tell you?
Well, the numbers tell us that Jet Phipps has all the advantages. Height, weight, reach, and I suspect talent. We'll see how long this lasts. Troy Beets reportedly has an excellent chin.
Well, we're going to find out. Jet Phipps has a lot of power, 6 knockouts to his credit. And in fact, Beets has been knocked out on more than one occasion. In fact, last time out, he faced 10-0 Roman Greenberg, who knocked him out in the 3rd round. Jet Phipps is also 10-0, and here we go. Renaldo, what chance does Beets have here? What do you think he has to do to compete?
You know, I mean, he's got to get in, man, and, you know, not allow this guy to put those heavy combination punches on him. You know, it's going to be tough. You know, my man Jed, he has the home field advantage, man. It's hard to come in somebody else's home and beat them.
No doubt about that. You had the crowd eating out of your hand earlier tonight, but that is a story to tell another day.
It definitely is.
Jed Phipps has a lot of confidence, and he looks to step up in the near future against some tougher opposition.
He is still learning. He is very raw as a heavyweight, and heavyweights typically mature very later.
Scott Wagner told me, watch Mr. Beets. He's a tough guy, he can take a pretty good punch, and he vows to hang in against Jed Phipps.
Well, Jed Phipps, remember, Larry, only turned pro last year. His first 2 fights were against southpaws, and this is his 4th fight against an unorthodox style fighter. So he has had a lot of experience for a young fighter. You don't see a lot of left-handed heavyweights.
And Renaldo, you know, you look at Jed Phipps, a young guy, it's almost as though the apprenticeship that you served at Notre Dame and in college is served in the first 10, 15 fights of a professional fighter.
I definitely think it is. You know, Jed right here, I mean, you look at him, I mean, he definitely has the body. But
his mouthpiece goes into the front row.
Right out, huh?
Yeah, had to duck from that one.
Wasn't expecting that one. He's pretty aggressive here.
Jon Saraceno holding the mouthpiece of Jed Phipps.
Never seen one like that one before.
Oh, big left hand off the chin of Phipps. And Scott Wagner was right. Mr. Beets is here to fight.
Oh, definitely. I think he studied his opponent. He's not going to allow him any chance to get off those big hits on him.
I think he might be hurt. I think Phipps might be hurt.
His face is red. He got tagged.
And every minute that goes by, Beets is going to gain confidence. Big overhand left by Beets. Rocks Jed Phipps.
Well, that's
looking to hold on.
Well, Jed dropped his right hand, and he got clipped.
I tell you, looks are deceiving.
They really are. And a lucky break here in some respects for Jed Phipps because of the mouthpiece. You get a chance to regroup here.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll tell you what, I hope they wash that thing off because I have my hands all over it.
I'm not even going to touch that one, Jon Saraceno, because I don't know where his hands have been, Renaldo.
We can only imagine.
I don't want to imagine. So Jed Phipps has a little bit of swelling over his left eye already here in round 1. And this is a tough start for Jed Phipps.
Well, I talked to him in the dressing room before the fight, and he expressed a lot of confidence against going against left-handers. He didn't think it would be any problem.
Well, this is definitely one guy you can't
keep
sleep.
him up, Jed, keep
I'm
him up.
sure Troy, he knows he has to come in here and take the fight. He's here at home. He knows he has to come in here. He has to be aggressive.
And Beets did have that grim look of determination, Larry, as soon as the fight started.
He was mad. There's no doubt about that. Round 1, a good one for Troy Beets. He might have beat Phipps to the punch in round 1. More to come. Action from round 1, and take a look. There goes the mouthpiece. Duck, Renaldo Wynn. Right over our head.
Difficult first round for Jed Phipps.
See how he's regrouped. He's really never been in a tough spot in his career. He's been hit a few times, but maybe not as tough a spot as he found himself in round 1.
You don't want to see a young fighter in this spot, but you know they have to go through growing pains to advance to the next level. And Jed Phipps, win or lose, is going to get a lot out of this fight, Renaldo.
You're exactly right. In any situation, the biggest test for a great fighter is to see how he comes through adverse situations. This is one of them.
Well, Phipps tags Beets. Beets is hurt, and Beets is backing away now. That's giving the confidence factor back to Jed Phipps.
Well, you ought to see the look on Jed Phipps' face, Larry.
Wow. He needs to be patient. He can't go out of control after round 1, and now trying to take Beets out immediately.
And Jed whacked him to the body. You could just see a red mark, a giant welt along the right side of the rib cage of Beets.
You're exactly right, Ahmed.
Look at that.
That thing is huge.
Shoulders inside.
No, it's almost like a football analogy. If you play a team that you're favored against and they get a couple quick scores on you, got to say, whoa, wait a minute. Let's do what we're supposed to do here.
You know, in football, we have a saying, any given Sunday, you can't sleep any opponent. And I think Jed, he definitely can't sleep this guy.
Oh, Jed Phipps is hurt bad.
I think
he is wobbling.
Oh, man.
Down.
We didn't expect that one.
Can he get up?
Well, he knows he's down there, unlike some fighters, because he's mad at himself, which is a good sign.
Wow. He's got to regroup quick, because this guy's got he smells the blood. He's coming after him.
Phipps not listening to Campaneschi.
This guy wants after him fast.
Boy, Phipps showing some guts getting off the canvas after that shot.
Beets setting it up with a jab, too. He's jabbing his way in, fighting a very smart fight.
Another big left hand by Beets. Huge left hand by Beets. Phipps looking, trying to hold on.
Blood is coming from the left eye.
And the referee, Gary Campaneschi, is going to call the doctor in. Beets thinks he's won. But a huge gash cut over the left eye of Jed Phipps. And the referee is looking to stop it. And if this is stoppage,
he's saying it's really bad, quote unquote.
And if this is a stoppage, let's bring John Scheinman in. If this is a stoppage without a headbutt, Beets is the winner, right, John?
TKO, Larry, that's exactly right. There was no headbutt. This is a legitimate punch. As far as we've heard, we've seen the referee make no ruling. This is going to be a stoppage, and it should be a TKO for Troy Beets.
And Beets knows it, too, because he raised his hands up in victorious fashion.
Well, there are 3 doctors looking at Jed Phipps. I think there's enough doctors to figure that one out. Jed Phipps says he wants to continue.
Oh, that's a nasty gash in a bad spot.
Can the corner guy do anything with that?
Oh, my God.
That is a terrible cut. The corner could stop it. The corner could stop it.
That is going to impede his vision, too, because the blood is going to come into the eye, it looks like, from that angle. Oh, my gosh.
That is a terrible cut.
Well,
want to continue, huh?
Yep, here comes Beets. He's got a target now. The left eye of Jed Phipps. Actually, that stoppage to take a look at the cut has allowed Phipps to get his win back. Question is, how much of that blood will flow right into his eye?
It's all over it.
He needs to try to make it back to the corner. Hopefully he can make it out of this one so they can go ahead and do something with that eye.
Big left hand again by Beets. He's just hammering away on Jed Phipps.
Jed Phipps, very gutty, but maybe not to operate in his own best interest here right now.
There goes the mouthpiece again.
You got to seriously consider stopping this fight or the corner stopping it.
Oh,
man can't defend himself.
He's got to stop
Phipps goes down again.
Beets
celebrating prematurely.
I know he's a hometown guy, but
look, the first obligation of the referee is to protect the fighter. Right now, Jed Phipps is fighting on guts.
He's going to be saved by the bell right here.
He's got to get his mouthpiece off the ground.
His mouthpiece is in the center of the ring, and we're going to keep it right here between rounds. Wow.
Now,
let's check the corner of Jed Phipps, who's having a hard time even sitting down on his stool. And you're right, they ought to consider the corner ought to think about
exactly.
No, not consider it. The fight should be stopped by the corner. They should protect their own fighter, come back and fight another day.
Are you looking for a new car? Well, then just wait until you see the new 2000.
You see the corner of Phipps working feverishly trying to close that cut.
He could not see the punches coming. He was essentially defenseless and would have got belted out of the ring had the ropes not been there to hold him back.
You're definitely right about that.
You got all the doctors here. You got 3 doctors. I believe that they're looking for a stoppage. I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen. Gary Campaneschi. And they're going to let the fight continue despite the damage to the left eye of Jed Phipps.
Maybe the cut guy thinks he can do a great job to stop this fight. I mean, to stop the blood on the eye.
I think it's going to immediately bust right back open. I'm not an expert on that, but that's one of the worst cuts we've ever seen here, Larry.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And Phipps does have that puncher's chance, however, to turn the fight back around in his direction.
It's not unthinkable. He could land a haymaker and pull it out.
This is round 3. Fight is scheduled for 6 rounds.
Jed Phipps fighting with a unquestionable sense of urgency here. He knows what's at stake, his unblemished record and his health.
Not just the cut, Renaldo, but he was getting pummeled. He got knocked down in the round and almost knocked out.
You're right. Aside from the cut, you're exactly right. He was hitting them with some big shots. Beets, I think everybody in this entire arena underestimated this guy.
Except Scott Wagner.
And Jed is wiping the blood from his left eye. He's having a difficult time seeing out of it. It's obvious.
Jed can turn it around, however. He's got that big punch. Just needs to weather the storm and regroup somehow in the middle of this fight. Tough for us to say that here at ringside. How does he do it?
Now I have a question. You suppose if Beets was fighting in his hometown here and the opposite occurred, do you think the fight would be stopped?
Well, certainly that cut's pretty bad.
I think it'd have been.
I think it'd have been stopped.
You're right.
If Beets had that cut right now, we wouldn't be sitting here calling this fight, in my opinion.
Another big left hand, and that cut has opened up again, and it is a nasty, nasty cut. Right above the left eye of Jed Phipps.
Well, he keeps dabbing the eye with the glove. But I tell you what, he's fighting. He's fighting back, and he's trying.
Well, he's got himself back together in terms of his boxing.
Yes.
Right.
A tremendous, courageous performance by Jed Phipps. I mean, he's really getting shellacked here early in the fight, but he's trying to come back valiantly.
You're right, he has the heart of a lion.
That's tough for Beets, Renaldo. He thought that fight was over. At one point, he's got to find something, again, what he had in round 2, and land again.
And a lot of people would question, should you hit the left eye intentionally? Of course you should.
Exactly.
It's professional boxing.
You're right.
Right, Renaldo, if you find a guy in a football field with a weakness and he's hurt.
Doesn't he look like Brad Franklin with those glasses?
You're going to attack him.
You get that a lot?
Only today when I started wearing them for the first time.
Jed Phipps in a lot of trouble. The mouthpiece almost comes out again.
Yeah. Like Don was saying, that's definitely the strategy. You want to target a weakness.
Speaking of Ben Franklin, Larry, I'm a little short. Can you help me out this week?
You're the king of the Benjamins, man. What are you talking about? I'll tell you what, I like Jed Phipps showing a ton of heart here, and that's one of the questions about Jed Phipps, obviously. What happens if he gets in trouble? And right now, he's battling.
Oh, yeah, heart of a lion, heart of a lion.
Good round for Jed Phipps, trying to turn this fight around. Through 3, halfway through the scheduled 6th rounder. We'll be back. Looking at action from the end of round 3 as Jed Phipps, despite that nasty cut over his left eye, showing a ton of heart.
Well, I mean, you got to hand it to Jed Phipps. He's doing everything to stay in the fight. He doesn't want to quit. A lot of guys, believe me, Larry, would have bailed by this time.
No, it got him charged up. When they said, if they said after that cut happened, they gave him the opportunity, and he really got fired up.
I think there was going to be a fight in his corner if somebody had stopped the fight. I mean, he was vociferous in saying, I want to continue, but maybe against his own best interest. We'll see.
That's got to impress you, Renaldo. Guy coming like that after that nasty cut, continuing to want to fight.
You know, I was just going to say, I guess that's the heart of the, I guess that Baltimore type, you know, feel out here. You know, I mean, blue collar, never give up attitude.
Chicago too, Renaldo.
Definitely.
Okay.
Take one step back. Let's go.
And you know, Beets really has done nothing since that 2nd round. He's let that left hand go to sleep on him. Jed Phipps, I would think, won that previous round. Jon Scheinman, how's the scorecard for you after 3?
I had Phipps win the last round, Larry, but he's deep in a hole. I have him down 29-26. I had a 10-7 round with the 2 knockdowns in the 2nd. Quick mention, though, you know, it's fortunate that Beets is a left-hander now because Phipps, with the good right eye, can pick up the power shots coming off the left hand from Beets. So in this instance now, with his left eye damage, it benefits him that Beets is a lefty.
Yeah, Beets didn't show much of a jab at the beginning of this fight, and he really has not done much with the right hand at all in this round either.
Well, he hurt Phipps early and often, and he's been throwing haymakers.
Like you said, don't celebrate too soon, huh?
There's that left hand. That left hand of Beets just could find a home on the chin of Jed Phipps. Jed needs to keep that right hand up. It's a difficult opponent for Jed Phipps tonight, the southpaw Troy Beets.
Keep your punches up.
Out of Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Wonder if he knows Fred Smoot.
Or Fred Smoot might know him, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Fred knows everybody from Mississippi.
Oh, good body work there by Jed Phipps, and he moves away. Nice work by Jed Phipps, boxing. But you wonder if that hole is too deep, whether Jed Phipps needs a knockdown or a knockout. And Phipps' mouthpiece comes out again. Good call, Renaldo.
Step back.
Is that just fatigue, John?
Well, it could be. His mouth's hanging open. He's getting belted out. Sometimes fighters intentionally spit the bit so they can get a blow like they're doing right now. I don't know. Only he knows.
He looks the part. He looks the same to be in shape here.
Yeah. He probably just, his mouth is hanging open and got to belt it out.
Well, he's taking some punishment, though, and that'll take it out of you. Got to hand it to Beets, coming in Jed Phipps' backyard and putting on this kind of display.
And Jed Phipps 3-0 against southpaws coming into the fight, but tonight really has not been able to deal with the unorthodox style of Beets. and may have taken him lightly.
You know, no question about it. And Renaldo, you see, Jed Phipps is landing, but maybe that punishment earlier has taken some of his power away.
It could be definitely a possibility. You know, when there's a cut involved, it changes the whole fight.
You know, Troy Beets has lost 3 fights this year alone. So, I mean, you know, I'm sure that Jed Phipps looked at that record.
All right, we're back, round 5 underway. This fight is scheduled for 6 rounds. Larry Michael, Jon Saraceno, and the Washington Redskins, Renaldo Wynn at ringside. Jon Scheinman with us, as always. And let's check in quickly for Scheinman's scorecard with 2 rounds to go. John.
Jed Phipps inching closer, Larry. He's taken the last 2 on my card. He's down 38-36 with 2 rounds to go. I think he's showing a lot of guts here. But you know what? We're also seeing a lot of boxing skills from Jed Phipps. Don't forget, he outweighs Troy Beets by 21 pounds, and he's not taking it to him like an authoritative power puncher. He's building up his points by boxing. I just think it's interesting to note that he's chosen to fight that way.
I think he's having to fight that way by necessity because of the early going. The first 2 rounds, he really got pummeled.
He doesn't really want to box him. He really wanted to knock him out early. But instead, he's had to adjust his game plan, and he's showing he can do it if he had to under dire circumstances with a nasty gash.
Well, I tell you what, I think he underestimated the power of Beets, and there's a lot of respect in that.
Oh, clubbing left hand by Beets, and Phipps says, come on and bring it. But that's no way to win the fight, Renaldo, up against the ropes for Phipps.
No, it's not at all, not at all. I mean, he is showing excellent boxing skills, and, you know, I would like to see him throw a couple more power punches in there.
That's his best shot right now, and Beets doing the right thing, fighting from a distance and not letting Phipps draw him in. And that cut has not gotten any nastier, but it was pretty nasty to begin with. And Beets his left hand. I mean, Jed has not been able to get out of the way of that left hand, John.
And he's going to have to do that before the fight's over. A long way to go here.
A lot of swelling around Phipps's eyes as well, and some blood from his nose. Another left hand right down the pipe. Tags Jed on the lips.
Well, that was a low shot,
man.
By
side of the leg.
Yeah, try to get away with it. And that'll freeze up a guy's legs, but you got to be a little camping issue. The referee's going to give him some time.
He's going to give him time for the low blow. And
they really hit him on the hip, though, more.
Exactly, they did.
And our award-winning crew is going to show us a replay. It was a punch on the clinch. I believe that is the call. Not a low blow, but a punch on the break. But I've never seen a guy get a chance to regroup on a punch on the break.
Exactly.
Gary Campaneschi is a fine veteran official. And here we go. Gonna have to ask Gary about that after the fight, John. And you wonder who that delay helped, whether it helped Beets or let Jed Phipps get a little more energy. There's that left hand again, walking right into it.
Exactly.
Oh, he's rearranging that mouthpiece pretty good on Phipps. He's belting him.
Phipps is taking some heavy shots right now. The left hand of Beets.
Maybe Beets got regrouped and got a chance to get a good rest.
I think you're right, Renaldo.
Jed doing a lot of clinching on the inside. Watch what he's doing. He punches and he clinches.
Round coming to a close. The 6th and final round will be next. Interesting fight here in the ballroom. All right, 6th and final round. Larry Michael, Jon Saraceno, Renaldo Wynn ringside. Jon Scheinman with 3 minutes to go. Who's winning this fight?
Well, despite his visit to the rest home in that round, I still gave it to Troy Beets. I thought he landed excellent power shots, and I've got him up 48-45, Larry, with 1 round to go. Jed Phipps, the knockout puncher, needs one to win.
John, do you concur with Jon Scheinman? Do you have Jed needing a knockout to win this fight?
I've got him trailing by 1 or 2. I have to do fast math, but I've got him ahead. Beets ahead.
It's a Penn State guy. He needs a calculator for 6 rounds.
I wish LeVar Arrington were sitting to your left instead of
I wouldn't have
Renaldo Wynn.
I wouldn't have said that if LeVar Arrington was sitting there right now.
Smart man.
Let's see him put that scowl down on you.
Oh, I'm his biggest fan. He knows that. Despite what I think about your university. Anyway, I'm just kidding, John. Anyway, the fight in the ring right now, just a fantastic performance by Troy Beets, unexpectedly taking the fight to Jed Phipps. big hometown favorite, and Phipps has had a couple of moments, but it's been mostly Beets, Renaldo.
I tell you, I mean, you got to know that Jed knows he's behind. He's got to come in here and definitely throw something together here, all out. He's got to leave it out on the green.
Now, I don't know if he has the wherewithal at this point, because that left hand just keeps coming over his right. Another big left hand by Beets, and now blood pouring from the nose of Jed Phipps. I mean, his face is a mask of blood.
Oh, I think he hurt him.
He hurt him bad. Jed Phipps on the nose. I think he might have busted his nose, and this fight is over. This fight is over. It might be a broken nose on that punch.
Definitely could be. Definitely
right down the middle.
Oh, yeah. Take the way to know, yeah.
Oh, my bloody mess. Jed Phipps defeated for the first time, and what a performance by Troy Beets, coming into his backyard and giving him his first loss as a pro.
Unbelievable.
Renaldo, while we have a moment here, I want to thank you for coming by. You're a great fan of Ballroom Boxing, and we're a great fan of you and the Washington Redskins, buddy.
Hey, I appreciate you guys for having me. It's an honor.
Anytime.
You guys do a great job.
Well, we appreciate you, man.
We won't try to take your job if you don't try to take ours.
Agreed.
Well, here's another man that knows how to do his job, Pat O'Malley, with the time of the decision.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The winner by knockout at 137 of round 6, Troy Beets.
Troy beats Jed Phipps tonight in the Ballroom. Back with an interview with the winner in a moment. All right, welcome back to the Ballroom. The old saying goes, there are no moral victories in boxing, and I'm sure Jed Phipps feels that way right now.
Well, a terrible night for Jed Phipps as a young heavyweight. Worse than a loss is it looks like he has serious cut along that eye, and we don't know how that's going to impede his progress. It'll be a while before he can get back in the ring again, Larry, and it certainly looked like he did have his nose broken at the end of the fight. A vicious fight, a terrible loss. He's going to have to start over again.
Yeah, terrible loss by Jed Phipps as Troy Beets took it to him. Let's take a look at some of the highlights of this fight. And there is the final punch of the fight right there, right on the bridge of Jed Phipps' nose, which caused him to turn his back on Beets, and Gary Campaneschi had no other move to make but to call a halt to the action. Good stoppage by Gary Campaneschi. He can come back. He's a good boxer, and he's got a good power punch. You'll see Jed Phipps back in the squared circle real soon. But Jon Scheinman is in the ring with the winner tonight, the upset winner, Troy Beets.
Troy's spectacular victory coming into the hometown of an undefeated heavyweight who's a star here, Jed Phipps. I mean, were you nervous coming into this fight at all?
Well, you know, when I get real nervous, I feel like the plan's not going to go so well. So I stuck to my plan of thinking this was just a sparring session. And I got in there and I did exactly what I thought I'd do if I was sparring the guy. And I felt excellent. I've been training really hard for this. I've lost a lot of weight. I've been fighting like 230 pounds, 220, and I've been fighting big guys, and I decided that this will be my last heavyweight fight because these guys are just too big and too strong.
So you're going to come down to the cruiserweight now?
Cruiserweight division looks like where I should be. The guys are at least my size, if not smaller. I'm hoping that the cruiserweight division will go well. I feel really good. I feel really strong right now.
Well, Troy Beets stops one of the top heavyweights in the Baltimore area. Now he's going to move down to cruiserweight. Watch out, cruiserweights. This guy's tough. Troy Beets coming away with a win. Let's go back to ringside.
Thank you, Jon Scheinman. Stay tuned for more Ballroom Boxing. Welcome back to the Ballroom. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno in the ring right now. Eloy Suarez getting set to take on the unbeaten Ishmael Arvin. Arvin's toughest test to date. Let's go to Pat O'Malley for the introduction of the fighters.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. It is time now for the Ballroom Boxing main event. And the man in charge when this 8-round bout commences is referee Malik Waleed. And judging the bout at ringside, Kenny Chevalier, John Gradowski, and Don Risher. And now, introducing the boxers for the main event. To my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the red, white, and green trunks. He weighed in at 153 pounds. He comes to us from San Antonio, Texas, via Veracruz, Mexico, with his record 7-2, 3 by KO. Please welcome Eloy Suarez. To my left, out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks with white trim. And in his corner, is one of Baltimore's all-time greatest welterweights, Vincent Petway. This man weighed in at 154.25 pounds. He comes to us from Baltimore, Maryland. His record, 7-0-1, 5 knockouts. Please welcome Ishmael Arvin.
Certainly the hometown crowd behind Ishmael Arvin tonight. Malik Waleed is the ref. Let's listen in.
Okay, fellas, listen up. I expect good, clean boxing. When I say break, you both ought to stop punching, take a forward step back. Remember, protect yourself at all times. Cuando they say break, no golpes. Claro? Muy bien. Buena suerte. Good luck to you both.
The bilingual Malik Waleed, Jon Saraceno. Take a look at that matchup for us.
Well, the numbers are very even on paper. Of course, we know fights aren't fought on paper, Larry. Let's see what happens in the ring.
Well, there's been such a thing as a paper champion, but didn't win it in the ring, did he? That's what that means.
Arvin comes out in his usual fast style, attacking.
We talk about a guy who has loosened up. Arvin is well lathered up in this fight, and this is a big fight for Arvin, stepping up in a way, John, against the guy with the winning record, Eloy Suarez. And Suarez comes to this fight with a reputation for a very strong chin.
Let's not forget, Ishmael Arvin has only been a professional for about a little over a year and a half.
And really, when you look at this matchup, it's time for Ishmael Arvin. He has got that much talent, though he is only 7-0-1 with 5 knockouts. He has so much talent. You know, the report on him is he needs to be fighting guys like this, like Suarez.
Got to keep a young fighter very busy. Keep him in the gym between fights, schedule enough fights to keep him on track in terms of progress.
John, this is Arvin's 6th fight in the ballroom. Last time out, he defeated a very, very tough Leon Pearson in August of this year. So, winner by 6th round decision for Ishmael Arvin in Washington, D.C. For Eloy Suarez, his last fight was in May of this year in Corpus Christi, Texas, and he won that fight by decision over Jorge Garcia. And of course, the reputation of almost all Mexican fighters is that they are warriors and take 2 to give 1.
Well, Suarez has defeated Tapia, Whitaker, and Gomez. Unfortunately,
give me the first names, John.
Unfortunately, it was Robert Tapia, Quentin Whitaker, and Raymond Gomez.
Very well done, John. You've been sitting on that ad lib all night, haven't you?
And that comes courtesy of Charles J.,
who's done a great job getting us information tonight. I want to thank Charles, who has this rated as a pretty tight fight, even though Arvin is the hometown favorite here. Saw Ishmael Arvin walking around the arena a little bit earlier tonight, and it's funny how different fighters prepare for fights. Arvin was not locked away, meditating. He was walking around within the crowd wearing a San Diego Chargers jersey.
Was that him in a Tomlinson?
It was indeed.
Did not know that. And it must have been his son wearing a Michael Vick jersey. Did you see that? There was a little boy following him around wearing a Falcons jersey.
Clubbing left hand by Suarez. Nice punch, but Arvin has such a great amateur background and so well schooled. Almost the perfect prospect at this point in his career. He's just 27 years old, out of Baltimore, Maryland.
And you see the terrific hand and foot speed Arvin has.
Doubling up the left hook, more in the ballroom. Coming up, don't go away. All right, welcome back to the ballroom. John, I want to congratulate Rudy Childs for the fantastic award received by Ballroom Boxing. Rudy Childs is our producer, kind of the unsung hero behind the 10 seasons of Ballroom Boxing. And you really don't have enough time here to credit Rudy Childs and his entire crew for the great job that they do, because we are an award-winning telecast, and I love to say that, to be honest with you.
Sounds kind of cool, doesn't it?
It
really
sure does.
Unfortunately, the people behind the scenes who really make it happen don't get enough credit, and they work very hard. They're here before we get here, and they're here long after we leave.
That's exactly right. You know, Scott Wagner took home the hardware, but obviously he is our guiding light, but a lot of the credit has to go to Rudy Childs for the hard work on the production crew. The crew itself has been a tight crew over the years, and we'd love to give them the opportunity to say who they are on the air, but I've heard some of them talk, so I don't necessarily want to follow up with that advice.
Now if they could just find two, now if they could just find 2 announcers.
That's right.
Show will be perfect.
Hey, we're feeling good about it right now, no doubt about that. In the ring, Ishmael Arvin in the black and white trunks against Eloy Suarez from Mexico. And I want to bring Jon Scheinman in for the first round analysis. John, what do you think? Who do you think the first round went to?
Well, I want to know which 2 announcers you guys were talking about replacing.
I meant 3.
I thought Suarez won the first round. His hands are very, very busy, and he's showing good power. Look at him landing triple right hands over the top there of Arvin. I think he's just taking the fight right to the hometown star, and he looks very crisp early. He's up 10-9 on my card.
Well, you never know. You see an upset in the ballroom, and they become contagious.
And we've had our share over the years. That's what makes it a compelling series. You don't have a bunch of guys coming in with what we would call boxing predetermined outcomes, where one man is so much better than the other and he's supposed to win because he's the house fighter. That's not what happens here.
There's no doubt about it, John. This is a step up for Ishmael Arvin against a tough Mexican fighter, Eloy Suarez.
Wow. Arvin, very unsteady, Larry.
It's that left hand of Suarez has found the mark. And you can see the legs of Arvin a little shaky right now.
Well, he's got to dig himself out of a hole here. Not necessarily round total, we're only in the second round, but psychologically, he's allowed his opponent.
Nice combination by Arvin.
And that's what he's got to do. He's got to put his hands together, use that hand speed and foot speed.
Now, Eloy Suarez has been knocked out before. One of his 2 losses have come by way of knockout. Good uppercut on the inside, tagging Ishmael Arvin as Arvin comes on strong in round 2. Good fight brewing here in the ballroom. Action from round number 2. A good round again for Suarez, but Ishmael Arvin might have turned the tide midway through, John.
Well, I gave it to Suarez. I thought he held sway for most of the round. Arvin came back, but Suarez on the inside with those power punches, right hands and uppercuts, was really giving Arvin a lot of trouble.
Some maintenance duty by Malik Walid in the corner of Suarez.
Ishmael Arvin knows he is in a fight tonight.
But John, these are the type of fights if a guy wants to be a world champion, he needs to have this type of experience in his background, doesn't he?
Otherwise, you're going to be unprepared when you make that next step up in class. He should be able to compete effectively with a fighter like this. They're on par. Of course, when you're moving a fighter, a young fighter, you want a little more advantage on your side. And hopefully, in Arvin's case, he's going to have that edge.
John, you said something earlier that the connections by Suarez could be giving Ishmael Arvin a little bit of a psychological difficulty. This is a young man that has unbelievable confidence. He really thinks he's going to be a world champion one day.
He fights that way. You can see it. I mean, even though he was getting it, the worst of it early on, you could see the look in his face. I'm going to figure this guy out. And what he's doing now, Larry, he's giving...
Beautiful body shot.
He's giving him angles, though. And see how he's using his shoulder to create some distance and punching room. And now his opponent is unable to just bore in straight ahead and land all those combinations.
This began in the previous round, round 2 for Ishmael Arvin midway through. He's got Mac Lewis in his corner. He's got Vincent Petway, a former world champion, in his corner as well.
You don't want to stereotype.
Oh, I believe Suarez is hurt, at least stunned by that right hand. And Ishmael Arvin sitting down in his punches and doing some serious damage here in round 3.
Yeah, you got to give this guy Suarez angles. You can't come straight at him, and he can't stand there while he moves forward.
I'm going to call Jon Scheinman in. John, do you have this an even fight going into this round?
No, I have 2018 for Suarez. But, you know, Jon Saraceno makes an interesting point about the angles. I talked to Vincent Petway, who's working with Ishmael Arvin in the corner, and I said, what are you working on with him? He goes, angles. That's what we're doing. He makes his fights so much more difficult than they need to be. Why does he stand in front of guys when he can hit them and then step aside? That's what they're working on.
That's the sweet science there, man. Hit and not be hit. Hit and run, so to speak.
Well, look what Pernell Whitaker was able to do that for years as a lightweight, and you know, Ishmael Arvin has that kind of ability, boxing ability.
He is slipping the punches of Suarez, and Suarez not as effective as he was earlier in the fight.
Well, he has noticeably slowed down after those two excellent first couple of rounds.
Well, I think Arvin's helped him a little bit. And now Suarez up against the ropes again.
And let's not overlook.
Boy, pummeling right hand there by Ishmael Arvin to the dome of Suarez.
And Arvin's body work, very nice.
Round 3 coming to a close. A fantastic round for Ishmael Arvin, as he turns the tide on Suarez in the 3rd. Action from round 3 as Ishmael Arvin really has found the key to getting through the guard of Suarez, John.
He has, and that has been that movement. And that's not, doesn't mean running. It doesn't mean backpedaling or retreating. It means side-to-side movement where you're hit and not be hit. And it's just enough to throw off the rhythm of a guy who basically wants to bore straight in on you. And Hispanic fighters like to come straight at you, straight line.
Well, they're not going to run, that's for sure. Suarez right in front of Ishmael Arvin. Not a hard guy to find, Eloy Suarez. Suarez, 30 years old. And he's now living in San Antonio. Excuse me, John.
And he's a tough guy, too. I mean, this is not going to be an easy fight for Ishmael, even though he's coming on here.
Oh, that body work. He's going upstairs, downstairs. That's low, a little low.
I thought it was.
Malik Waleed doing the right thing because he warns Arvin, but he's not going to give Suarez the opportunity to take a break.
It was a hip shot, and fighters, crafty fighters, will do that. Vincent Petway probably taught him that move. And Shane Mosley used it against Oscar De La Hoya.
Arvin really has every punch in the book, John. He's got all the angles. He's got all the punches. It's a little more grooming. And you look at that draw on Ishmael Arvin's record, you wonder what happened on that night when he got the draw up in Atlantic City against Darnell Wilson. That's not the Dingling man, of course. That's another Darnell Wilson. A 4-round draw. And that is on his record. He would be unblemished at 7-0 with no draws. He's got 5 knockouts to his credit. Just wonder what happened that night.
Well, you've got to be.
Oh, there is a nasty swelling right along the right eye of Ishmael Arvin. I could say it's right in the corner of his eye, and it is growing. I'd say it's about the size of a quarter right now, and his corner is going to have to do a good job to reduce that swelling, and that's from the left hand of Suarez.
Wow, that left hand downstairs that Arvin is using is really could turn the tide in this fight.
The body shot by Suarez himself.
Yep. This is a sensational fight. It really is. You know what? For a club show experience, where both of us been to plenty of other club shows over the years, you don't get fights like this.
No, John, I don't even want to call this a club show anymore because we televise nationally, coast to coast. And fighters come to the ballroom for exposure, so to say it's the best club show in America is almost selling the ballroom short.
I agree. Now that we're in our 10th year, that's a statement that I believe is true.
First time you've agreed with me in 10 seasons.
Second.
So this round coming to a close. Another good round for Ishmael Arvin, but his corner has some work to do on that swelling on the right side of his head. We'll see how they deal with that when we come back. Round 5 underway here in the ballroom. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. To find out more about ballroom boxing, go to ballroomboxing.com. You can check out the upcoming schedule, the history of ballroom boxing, and you know what? You can also see the ring card girls at ballroomboxing.com.
And we may launch a new feature, in the next couple of months here. You and I are going to do hopefully a question and answer. Ask Larry and John.
I would love that. Yeah. We're here to answer your questions, not just about the ballroom, but you know, the ballroom is so compelling everywhere I go, John, and you know, both you and I do have national gigs. And ballroom boxing always comes up anywhere I go. This is certainly a nationwide event, and that is why Ishmael Arvin is here. One of the fine young fighters in the nation, a light middleweight. Super welterweight. In fact, he's got a little blood coming from his mouth. This is the same weight class that Shane Mosley and Oscar De La Hoya squared off in. Ishmael Arvin a couple years away probably from seeing that time of prime time action.
He's got his hands full right now. A little bit of blood from Arvin's mouth, it looks like. I tell you what, the body shots that Suarez is digging down. You gotta wonder what kind of effect that's having on Arvin. Is that slowing him up at all? Because he's not punching with the same quite sharpness that he did earlier in the fight. And Suarez just keeps, you know, right on him. He's right on his chest.
Suarez has not gone away, that's for sure. Through 4 rounds, Jon Scheinman, what did your scorecard say?
All even, Larry, 38 all. I thought Suarez won the first 2 rounds, setting up big punches behind the jab, and then Arvin took over with the body shots in the 3rd and 4th round. But Suarez seems to have weathered that, and he decided to go into the trenches with Arvin, and now he seems to have regained some command here. This is just a grueling, top-notch fight.
A lot of blood from the mouth of Ishmael Arvin. And Jon Saraceno, when a fighter tastes his own blood, that almost gives him the wrong impression on how fights are going, because the blood is commonplace in boxing. Arvin fighting a good fight. I wonder what psychological issues he's going through right now with that blood in his mouth.
Well, I don't know if the blood's having an effect as much as those left hands to the rib area. Nice uppercut by Suarez on the inside with the left hook to the bite, and that was low. And he got warned by Malik Waleed, the referee. I mean, Suarez does not allow you to breathe. Another uppercut on the inside. Ishmael's got to tighten up his defense. He's got to get his gloves up higher, Larry. He's getting tagged.
Huge uppercut by Suarez, just rocks the perspiration and fluid off the head of Ishmael Arvin.
I mean, look at the combination punching by Suarez. He just keeps moving forward. They're not all landing, but a lot of them are. Big round for him.
Turn of the tide again. Eloy Suarez taking command in this round. More to come in the ballroom. Welcome back to the ballroom. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Jon Scheinman is with us as well. Round 6 underway. This fight scheduled for 8 rounds tonight. Jon Scheinman, this is a tough fight for the unbeaten Ishmael Arvin.
I'll tell you something. I think Suarez inched back ahead in that last round. I have him up 48-47. But I want to say this about Arvin. If he doesn't learn to follow what his camp is trying to teach him about angles, he's not going to ever become a contender, because he's going to get burned out in these trench wars as he's climbing the ladder. And believe me, these kinds of fights, no matter how young and strong you are, will take it out of you when you get up to the upper level. He is going to have to preserve his body if he's going to make it up to the big time in this game.
Well, I don't know what happened with Scheinman, but I'm agreeing with the guy now. Maybe the offseason has helped Jon Scheinman. Anyway, I agree with him 100%. And Ishmael Arvin's got a lot of swelling around his eyes, John.
Yeah, I've got him ahead 48-47, and I agree with John. He's got to use his ability, and a lot of that has to do with his foot reflexes, foot speed, hand reflexes, and he's giving him more of these angles now, but Larry, he may be tiring out. Swelling under the eyes, tasting the blood in his mouth.
Well, there's a nasty swelling. That swelling on the right side of his face, right on the side, right on the temple of Ishmael Arvin, is getting worse by the minute.
I'll tell you what I think the difference is. I think it's Suarez's body punching is turned the tide in the fight. I really believe that. Suarez has been attacking him with 2 fists to the body for the last 3 rounds, and Arvin has not looked as fresh as he was early.
This fight has been fought at a feverish pace, and you wonder which man is in the better condition. Ishmael Arvin in fantastic condition, and Eloy Suarez looks in great condition as well.
And if you look at Arvin's punches real closely, they don't have the same snap on them as they did in the first 3 rounds.
I'm telling you, that swelling around his right eye is getting uglier by the minute. And it's going to be a factor in this fight before this 8-round fight has concluded.
Arvin unbeaten in 8 fights as a pro, junior middleweight. This is scheduled 8-rounder against a fighter who is 7-2 with only 3 knockouts. But I tell you what, that's deceiving, because Suarez can fight, and he's a pressure fighter. And that will wear down the best of boxers.
Well, Suarez has fought 2 times in the ballroom. Randy's Ballroom in San Antonio, Texas, certainly not as recognizable as Michael's 8th Avenue Ballroom, that's for sure. So right now, Ishmael Arvin trying to mount a comeback.
Well, he's going to try to steal the round. As Suarez built up, I think, a lead here in this round. And unofficially, if he wins this round, I got the fight all even.
Well, Ishmael Arvin, the longest he has gone is 6 rounds, and this fight is scheduled for 8. So he's going to the deep water tonight. More Ballroom Boxing coming up from Michael's 8th Avenue. Welcome back to the Ballroom. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Also, John Scheinman, as always, our constant third member of the crew. And John, how do you have this fight scored? Ishmael Arvin is unbeaten coming into this fight. Is that unbeaten record slipping away?
Yeah, well, on my card it is. He's down 58-56. I think Suarez has taken the last 2 rounds. Arvin looking very unsteady on his legs. He did start to mount a little attack in the final 30 seconds of that last round, but that's not enough to win it considering all the work Suarez has done. It'll be really interesting to see how these local judges who have seen Arvin time and time again and know that he's just a rising star here are looking at this fight, because some of the rounds are very close. And so far I've thrown him to Suarez's way because I just think he's done the better work.
Well, you know, I agree with John Scheinman because on my scorecard I have Ishmael Arvin up by a point because the early work that he did. Now, we still have a couple rounds left here, so a lot can happen. Jon Saraceno, who do you have leading this fight?
I got the fight deadlocked. I think it's anybody's fight with 2 rounds to go here.
Here's a nice left hook by Ishmael Arvin that scores. And a good body shot. And that hurt Suarez.
Oh,
you saw him back away.
He didn't like that. And here comes Arvin.
This could be Arvin's moment. Let's see. Suarez looking a little wary right now. This could be a battle of conditioning, John, because both men have had their moments in this fight. Both men have taken some punishment, and whoever has the most fuel might win this one.
This is a terrific performance by both fighters here tonight, no matter who wins. Really is. Very impressive.
Uppercut by Suarez. Left hook by Arvin.
These guys are earning their money, every last dollar. Trust me. Got to have respect for guys like this.
Well, this is what champions are made of, guys who can fight through the adversity. And right now, Ishmael Arvin, after a good start to this round, does not want to be in a corner.
Wow, he just got hit with a 5-punch combination back in that turnbuckle. Woo.
Suarez so crafty, follows his left hook with an elbow.
This is a close round, Larry.
Both men connect with left hooks. And win or lose, Ishmael Arvin's going to learn a lot from this fight. But you see Suarez just keeps on coming, John. There is no stop in his pursuit of Ishmael Arvin.
Arvin will be seeing him in his dreams tonight, and probably for 6 months, win or lose.
Closing moments of this round, Ishmael Arvin and Eloy Suarez. Great fight here in the Ballroom. The legs of Suarez buckle for a moment there. We'll be back with more from the Ballroom in a moment. 3 minutes left to determine this fight. Larry Michael, Jon Saraceno in the Ballroom. Ballroom Boxing, the 10th season of Ballroom Boxing. 3 minutes to go. John Scheinman, who's ahead?
Suarez, 67-66. Arvin won the last round in just withering, grueling action. I mean, I can't tell you how hard these guys are fighting. They're going to need a long rest after this, but it's not in this round. Arvin needs a knockout to win, or he's going to have to do something sensational to win it on my card.
Neither man has been down. That was a crunching left hook by Ishmael Arvin, however. And Jon Saraceno, what kind of factor is it that Suarez coming from San Antonio by way of Mexico, Arvin fighting in his backyard? What kind of factor is that as we enter this very close fight in the last round?
Well, it certainly doesn't hurt that Arvin's fought here before, but I tell you what, he's fighting this round like he's behind, Larry. And that's the way he needs to fight it. I've got him ahead by 1 point, but this fight is so close. Arvin's got to be impressive in this 8th and final round. And so far he has been in the opening minute.
Okay.
Good leap and left hook there by Ishmael Arvin.
We were told that Ishmael's corner was not using the end swell device. I can't confirm that or not, but if that's the case, you know, he needs more help in that swelling between rounds. But it's too late now.
Suarez continues to be right in front of Ishmael Arvin. But, you know, the punching of Suarez offensively, John, has been missing the last couple of rounds. He's really hasn't gone to the body like he did earlier in the fight.
And now Arvin boxing and moving as if he thinks he may be ahead and wants to stay out of harm's way.
This is too close to play with, however.
But I think he is winning the round. It's not like he's just throwing it in the bank saying, hey, I'm just going to, oh, terrific left hook by Arvin. This is a very strong round for the local guy.
Right hand by Suarez causes Arvin to bounce off the ropes. I'm not so sure Arvin is hurt. He's just tired.
And his legs have been unsteady for about 3 rounds. He doesn't want to trade with Suarez.
Suarez tags him with a left hand and a right hand by Suarez. Arvin in a little bit of trouble here.
It's mostly fatigue, Larry. Can he hold on?
Suarez coming with a flurry. Arvin in trouble up against the ropes. He is wobbled.
Look at Suarez.
And somehow Arvin finds the reserve of energy to come out of that funk.
Well, this is going to be nominated for early candidacy for Fight of the Year on our series. What a show.
Good left hook by Suarez again. Arvin looking to hold on. Suarez hammering away here in the final round. Big left hand by Suarez.
Wow.
Boy, this fight from bell to bell has been a great one. Great action here in the ballroom. It goes the distance and the fans are on their feet. Ishmael Arvin thinks he won. Suarez believes he won. Could it be a draw? We'll find out after a break. More ballroom boxing coming your way in a minute. Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Toyota. Brought to you by Budweiser. The best thing in life are the things that are true. Budweiser. By Michael's 8th Avenue, a host of grand occasions. By BallroomBoxing.com. The latest in ballroom boxing action, including upcoming live events and season tickets. All right, welcome back to the ballroom. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. What a great fight. It goes the distance. Ishmael Arvin and Eloy Suarez. Let's take a look at some action from earlier in this fight. And we really, truly do not know who won this one. It's that close, John.
Well, it was a kind of fight that is the hallmark of ballroom boxing. This fight was fought basically in a proverbial phone booth all night. No man gave a quarter in that fight, and really, I'd like to see a rematch. I don't know if both fighters would be up for it, Larry, but I had the fight scored a draw. I had Suarez coming on and winning 3 of the last 4 rounds to pull out a draw, but it's going to be that close.
And really, you got to give Suarez credit coming into Ishmael Arvin's backyard and taking it the distance and really taking it to Arvin at times of the fight. Both men had their moments in the fight. And we don't know who won this fight tonight, folks. Pat O'Malley, though, does. He's got the scorecards in his hands. Let's see who won.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. Judge Kenny Chevalier scores it 77-76, Arvin. Judge Don Richard scores it 76-76, a draw. And John Gradowski scores it 77-75, the winner by a majority decision, Ishmael Arvin.
I cannot argue with that decision. Possibly the last round won him the fight, John.
Yeah, and he was going to have to close the show fast, and that was a terrific last round. I gave it to Suarez, actually, but I had the fight scored or draw, but I wouldn't argue that Arvin was in the fight and may have pulled out a close decision.
Boy, what a great night of boxing here in the ballroom. Our 10th season is underway, John, and we couldn't have asked for a better show tonight.
Exciting, close fights. If the rest of the year is this good, wow, you're not going to want to miss any of these shows.
Kudos to the crew for winning the award. I'm Larry Michael. For Jon Saraceno and John Scheinman, we'll see you next time for Ballroom Boxing.